Hey friends, my name is Mr. Hare, and welcome to Principles of Engineering. I will be your host both virtually and in real life, if you are so lucky, as we go through engineering. And I wanted to take a few minutes today to just talk to you about what engineering is and why I love it. When I went to college, I actually went to school for engineering. For my first 3.5 years, I pursued mechanical engineering and loved it. It was very mathy, lots of math, lots of science to solve the world's problems. And I got out of it because I was like, I liked people. And I can remember exactly where I was when I got the call of, I think that I should go elsewhere and go to teaching. It's not to say that I don't love engineering, and it's probably what the majority of my hobby is making my world better in my immediate surroundings. But I have a few people that are going to tell you about what engineering is, and my first one is he's a professor. He was a professor at Ohio State University, and you might know him as the first person who walked on the moon. His name is Neil Armstrong. Believe it or not, he was a mechanical engineer, and there's a really great video of him explaining what engineering is. And this YouTube channel called PhD Comics, they sit down with very famous people and they just record their conversations, and then they put a cartoon drawing to what they had said. So they record everything first, and then they have an animator come by and just record everything, which makes it really interactive and very cool. So I want to play you this video and show you what engineering is from Neil Armstrong's perspective.
I am, and ever will be, a White Sox pocket protector nerdy engineer. Born under the second law of thermodynamics, seeped in the steam tables, in love with free body diagrams, transformed by Laplace and propelled by compressible flow. As an engineer, I take substantial amount of pride in the accomplishments of my profession. Science is about what is, engineering is about what can be. Engineers' entire existence is dedicated to doing things better and more efficiently. It is a profession which leaves its imprint on our society in countless ways. A century ago, the world really needed improvements in quality of life, health, mobility, and living standards. At that time, life was a constant struggle. The 20th was a century often punctuated with the terror of war and darkened with societal struggles to overcome injustice. But the 20th was also the first century in which technology enabled the tenets and the images of those traumas to reach across the world and touch people in ways that were previously unimagined. Engineering helped create a world in which no injustice could be hidden. Many will look back to see how we have changed and what we have accomplished. The future's a bit foggy, but it's not unreasonable to suggest that the 21st century will enjoy a rate of progress not unlike the 20th. It's something to hope for.
I like that. A place where no injustice. Where did he say it? Oh, it was someplace. But I like that. I mean, think of this thing in your pocket right now. And I don't know what life is like where you're at and in the time that you are, but you can pull this out and videotape injustice, and hopefully the world will see it and make it right. It's pretty amazing. I have one more video to share with you about what is an engineer. Maybe you saw lots of mathy stuff, nerdy stuff in that last one. It's kind of exciting.
What is engineering? Let's take a moment to think about your morning. The alarm on your phone goes off at 7:03. You drag yourself to the shower and blast yourself with perfectly warm water in an attempt to wake up. You smear your toothbrush with too much toothpaste and scrub yourself into a foamy mess of minty freshness. You're running late, so you skate downtown, weaving through the commuters, dart across the road, barely making the lights, and jump on the train just before the doors beep shut. There's a couple of stops to go, so you pull out your phone and play a few games of Angry Birds. Alarms, trains, traffic lights, video games, toothpaste, all these things were made possible by engineers. But what prompts an engineer to improve our world? Well, they solve problems. Problems are an engineer's inspiration, and maths and science are the creative tools they use to solve them. Problems like making your alarm go off at the right time, or making sure your toothpaste has just the right balance of chemicals to give you that perfect smile, or even making a game so addictive it's almost impossible to put down, if that really is a problem. Now let's head over to the airport and jump on an aeroplane. Aeroplanes. They're so easy to take for granted. But don't forget, you can fly! Before aeroplanes, flying was quite a bit more challenging. Every bit of your plane has been touched by engineers. A mechanical engineer designed the engine. A mechatronics engineer devised the controls. The fuel? Extracted by mining engineers and refined by chemical engineers. The navigation systems? Electrical and software engineers created those. Yep, a whole team of engineers. Now we've landed in Dubai, home of the Burj Khalifa. It's the world's tallest building at 829.8 metres high. It's also in one of the world's hottest environments, reaching up to 50 degrees in summer.
That's Celsius.
One of the difficulties of building the Burj was trying to figure out how to set 45,000 cubic metres of reinforced concrete in such extreme weather. The solution? A clever method of pumping iced liquid concrete into the 55,000-tonne steel frame during the night. The result? A building that's vertically over 800 metres high, rather than horizontally all over the ground. Now let's jump into our time machine and go back to Saturday. Saturday, March 1932. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is about to open. The bridge is a marvel of civil engineering, and a pretty cool place to set off some fireworks. Since 1815, people had been talking about building a bridge to connect the two sides of the harbour. The problem was that the harbour was so incredibly wide. How could a bridge span such a width and support its own weight? The solution? The Romans! Well, actually it was an idea they came up with. The arched bridge works by transferring the weight into horizontal forces and bracing them at the ends of the arch. But what about the future? What problems will engineers solve next? Will we finally have affordable solar power? Or robots that can perform life-saving surgery? Or a building that's so tall your view is of outer space? Or how about finally engineering a working hoverboard? Seriously, we've waited long enough. So what is engineering? It's solving problems. It's taking crazy, out there ideas and seeing if they're actually possible. And when they are, the idea is shared with the world to make all our lives better. So, what problems do you want to solve?
Engineering. If there's one thing I want you to learn this year, and if I had to boil everything down into one thing, like what is engineering and what does Mr. Hare want you to get out of this class? It's this. I want you to think before you build something. Think before you do. It's very cliche. But that's what engineering is. Engineering is, there's a problem. People are paid to think about that problem. It's not trial. It is a little bit of trial and error, but we do the best we can with what we have with math and science before we just go throwing money at a problem. There's going to be lots of examples of this all over the year. But if there's one thing that I want you to learn, and we will get better at this. I'm getting better at it. Think before you do. Friends, I look forward to having a wonderful year with you. Thanks so much. I'm sure that this is going to be a crazy year. It'll be different, full of challenges, but we will get through it. We will engineer our way through.